Evening. Hey, Arish. Hey, Sunita.
Good
So,
evening, sir.
good evening. Sunita wrote such a big, long message for me on Teacher's Day. I just read it late, a little bit. Sorry about that, Sunita. I didn't know you really appreciated my class and my teaching so much. You guys read the text she sent in the group?
Yes, sir, I
He
did.
wrote a poem for you, sir, in Hindi.
Yeah, but that was beautiful. But basically, her message was for me there, what she wrote in English.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, Sunita.
पढ़ेगा इनसे सर से?
Are you in your village, Arish?
No, sir. I am with my friends outside.
Okay, I thought you were in your village talking
No,
to
no,
maybe
I am.
your nephew or niece.
No, no.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, Jishan, good evening, Gita.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Sumit. I think, someday I should talk about uh, the theory of the second language acquisition theory by Stephen Krashen in detail in this class, maybe, so that you guys become more aware of what happens in this class. I know you guys have been with me for quite some time, but sometimes, unless things are pointed out explicitly to you, you don't notice them. So, my suggestion to you all will be to read a very famous theory called Theory of I plus one by Stephen Krashen. Read about it, or maybe I will share a video with you all, and that will help you understand what this theory was about. And why this theory is so relevant when you're trying to learn a foreign language or a second language, okay? Why a lot of people fail to learn English despite being in classes for long time, for like 2 years, 3 years, they study grammar and fail to. I can't forget that guy, his name was Manoj. He visited me. I think it was the year of 2015 or 16. He was already 27, 28. And he was very disappointed with himself. He had been learning English for 4 years, and he thought learning English was about learning grammar. So he spent all his time studying grammar, 4 years, long time, and he remembered so many rules. He solved so many problems, grammar problems, questions, you see. And when he came, coincidentally, I was listening to the BBC. I just put my headphones over him, asked him to listen and tell me what he was listening to. He could not understand anything. He said he just heard some words, but he didn't know what they were talking about. I said, what was the point of studying for 4 years? He stayed with me for about a year. Of course, he learned very slowly because of all that he had studied before. Instead of helping him, was just restricting. All those lessons were restricting him from learning things properly. Good to see you on camera, Sunita. Yeah. All right, people. So Stephen Krashen, I plus one, theory of the second language acquisition. Mm. All right, Sanjeev. Uh,
Good evening.
Good evening. Ravi is here. Is it Ravi? No, Sakib.
No, sir.
Sakib.
It's me, Sir Sakib.
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, it's not connected yet. Yeah. Direct it towards us. That device on. Alexa? Oh, okay. Okay. So, say something, guys.
Hello,
Am I
sir.
audible? Hello, sir.
No, it's not working.
How,
Again.
how did the
So, was there homework in the practice book? One
No,
last page, perhaps.
no. No, sir.
Um, Everyday English, page number 23. Okay. And we might want to watch that video today about the Titanic. And bring some water as well, okay? Thank you. Thank you very much. Bring some water. Everyday English. Yeah, Arish, I know you're very excited to watch the video. Saying when, complete the conversations with in, at, on, or no preposition. Number one, what time does the film start? At 6 o'clock. When were you born?
I was
I was
born in
born in
1998.
1998. I was born in 1998. 3. Hooray, it's Friday, nearly the weekend. I can't wait to
I can't
finish
wait
work.
to finish work.
I'm going
I'm
out.
going
I'm
to
going out
Nothing,
in this
nothing
evening.
this evening. I'm going
this
out this
evening.
evening. Hooray, it's Friday, nearly the weekend, nearly the weekend, nearly the weekend. Not the weekend hasn't started. Okay, nearly the weekend. Nice expression. I can't wait to finish work. I'm going out this evening. Yeah. And the windows as well, the other windows. When I was all alone here, it was okay, but now there are 4 or 5 people. It's because of the humidity. Otherwise, in the winter season, even if there are 30 people in the room packed, nothing, no problems. My driving test is
On Thursday.
On
On
Thursday.
Thursday.
on
on
Thursday?
Thursday. On Thursday, right? My driving test is on Thursday. Next. Where is this music coming from?
I
It's
think
coming
it's
from. It was coming from your side, Sumit. Okay. My driving test is on Thursday. Good luck. What did you do
On
at the weekend?
at the weekend.
American English on weekend, okay? British English at the weekend. You have heard this phrase uh, maybe 50 times at least, and still you haven't learned. Why? No, not yet. Some people haven't.
Sir, I have a question that why we are going to put here at means British why choose ad for the weekend. Is there any logic or
Bit up. Hey, Akash or Ananya? Who's that? Akash or Ananya? Who's that? Unmute yourself. Talk to us. Vikas. Be on camera. Saurabh. Akash. If it is you, Akash, unmute yourself, say hello. If it is you, Ananya, you could say hello too, Akash or Ananya, please unmute yourself. Well, Akash or Ananya, whoever it is either Akash or Ananya, is a visitor today, a guest. The person's English is quite good, actually. I invited the person to visit the class, and have a little interaction. Was looking for some free classes, actually. The person was looking for free classes.
Good evening, sir.
No, not demo. A class where she could study for free, So I said, I'm a professional teacher. My classes are paid, but you can visit it for one day, as a guest. Yeah. So she's here or he's here. Akash, please unmute yourself. We want to hear your voice. Akash or Ananya, whoever you are.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, Ravi. Okay. So,
By the way, sorry to sir, but your mustache, it's good, sir. Looking
what's the
good.
mistake?
I'm
Your
not
voice is
saying
not very clear.
mistake, sir. I'm not saying mistake. I'm saying your mustache.
My mustache. Okay. Guys, moving on. The answer to the question you asked, dear Sunita, British English and American English will be slightly different because language evolves over time. And England and America are so far away from each other that it is only natural that there are some differences. Okay. You talk about the Spanish people ruling over South America, and about 300 years, 200 years ago, they left South America. But South America still speaks Spanish. But the Spanish South America speaks, and Spanish that Spanish people speak in Spain is slightly different. Okay, because language is constantly evolving, just like human beings. Okay, we are changing. Language is changing. The language that you're speaking today will not be the same 500 years from now. Okay, it will be very different. 500 is a long time. I will say even 100 years from now. If you look at a child talking today, a 10-year-old child talking today, and compare him with a child 50 years ago, 10-year-old child, the language will be so different. Okay, today's children, they have Hindi words, English words, Urdu words, all mixed up, right? When they speak. I think 50 years ago, there were not so many English words for sure in their conversation, in their language. So, yeah, yes. Today is the best day for. Okay, so not the best day. Okay, where were we? What did you do at the weekend? B says, I went to a birthday party. I went to a birthday party. Go ahead. What will you write next? On Saturday night. On
On Saturday.
Saturday night, I went to a birthday party. Vikas, be on camera, Vikas. I went to a birthday party on Saturday night. It was amazing. 6. We always go on holiday
In
in
July.
July. Yeah, don't play with the video, the camera thing. Leave the camera on. You have to be on camera all the time. We always go on holiday in July. We usually go away
We
in
usually go
winter
out in
to
winter.
visit my family in Australia. So clearly away means another country, another city. 7. You look tired. Did you go to bed late?
Did you go to bed?
Last night,
Last night.
Last night. Nothing.
Last
Nothing.
night.
And if you have not been able to catch these phrases, Lucky, it is definitely a big concern for me, you see. And I want you to do more deep learning because you just subconsciously learn these things. The concept that I asked you to read about, the I+1 theory of second language acquisition by Stephen Krashen, it talks about these things. Please. If you learn these things consciously, explicitly, I tell you this is what we do, then I don't think it is going to be worth it. You have to just notice, okay? You look tired. Did you go to bed late last night? Yeah, I went out with friends and didn't get home until 2 o'clock.
In the
And
morning.
in the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning. Okay. Now complete the conversation with words from the box. When is your birthday?
It's on 13th September.
it's on the 13th of September.
Well done, Jishan. It is on the 13th of September. It's on the 13th of the 13th of September. Okay.
The 13th of September.
I think it was Saqib, the 13th of September. Well done.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What year were you born?
I was born in
I was
1996.
born in
I was
1996.
born in 1996.
When's your birthday? When's your birthday?
When's
It was
your
a couple of weeks
The
ago.
3rd of December.
Actually.
It was a couple of weeks ago, actually.
birthday?
Really?
It was a couple of weeks ago.
What did you do?
What did you on your
On your
birthday?
birthday.
What did you do on your birthday?
What did you do on your birthday? Not much.
I did not much.
When I was 21, I had a huge party with
When I
fireworks
was 20,
In
until
midnight.
midnight. Do we have until? No, at. Okay, at. At midnight makes sense. I had a huge party with fireworks at midnight. Yeah. And last year,
Last
we
year
went
we
to a
went
club.
to
last year we went to a
This
club,
year was
but
very
This year
quiet.
was very quiet.
this year
Was very quiet.
was really
We're
fun.
having a party for Sally's birthday. It's next
We
Saturday
were having
At
at
8.
8.
at
Do you
it.
Do you
want to
want to
come?
come?
at it.
I would love
Do you want to come?
Great.
Okay,
I'd love
I'd love to. I'd love
and grammar review. Let's see. Complete the table. So study, studied, was, were studying. Live, lived, was, were living. Ring, rang,
to. Back.
was or were ringing. Leave, left, left. Okay,
Left.
and past continuous is easy. Was, were, leaving. But remember, when you write leaving, you drop E and you add ing, okay? Plan, what is the past simple of plan? With a double N, with a double N, PLA, double NED, planned. And the double N in, exactly, was, were, planning, double NING. Try, tried,
Right.
was trying, were trying. Travel, travel,
Travel.
double LED, double LED,
Travel.
traveling. Hey, double L is used only in traveled or traveling. I think we use single N in traveled, okay, and we use double L in traveling, okay. That's a little tricky, the spelling here. Make, made,
Made.
and past continuous, was making, were making. Underline the correct form of the verb in the text. One day, Margaret Clements was walking along the high street. It was hot, so she decided to take off her coat. take off her coat, remove her coat. Okay.
Take off
While
While she was taking it off.
while she was
while she was
talking.
While
taking
she
it
was
off,
taking it
her
off,
phone
Taking
started
it
to
off.
ring. She
Started
opened her
again.
bag to answer it. She opened her bag to answer it. The
Open her back to
phone
answer it.
was ringing
The phone was
loudly,
ringing loudly.
but she couldn't
Could
find
not
it
find
anywhere.
it anywhere. Couldn't find it anywhere. She put her back down on a bed.
Put her
Put her
bag.
bag down on a bench. Suddenly, a man appeared from nowhere.
Suddenly, a
What is
man
the
appeared
expression?
from
What is the
nowhere.
expression? What did
A
you
man
learn?
appeared
Did you
Appeared
learn a nice expression? What? Appeared
out
from
of
nowhere.
nowhere, out of nowhere.
Appeared
nowhere.
from nowhere. What does it
where
mean?
कहीं से एक आदमी
मतलब
आ गया.
बहुत तेजी से आया, पता नहीं चला कब आया, कहाँ से आया. Okay, appeared from nowhere.
from
Okay,
nowhere.
he
From
picked up her bag and ran down the road with it.
the basement and ran down for the
A policeman
This man
stopped him
stopped him because
A
because the
policeman
the
phone
phone
stopped
was
him because
was
the
still
still
phone
ringing.
ringing,
was still
Was
ringing,
and he
still
wanted
ringing.
to know
And he
why the
wanted to
and
man
he
know
wanted to
didn't
know
answer.
why
didn't
the
answer.
man didn't answer.
So when he was running, the policeman got a little doubtful, yeah, suspicious. He said, "Why aren't you picking up the phone? It's ringing. Why are you running with it?" Yeah. Why don't you answer the phone? Rewrite the sentences using the opposite adverb. I went to bed late.
I went to bed late.
I didn't go to bed
I went to
early.
bed
I didn't go to bed early. My sister can't type very fast. She
My sister
types,
types slow.
yeah, she types very slowly. She types very
She
slowly. She
types
types
very
very
slowly.
slowly. Okay.
She types.
Don't speak so loudly.
Can you speak calmly?
Come on, come on, come on, Zafri, you're
Softly.
messing up. You look at sentence number 1 and understand what you did. I went to bed late. I didn't go to bed early. Means message remains the same. Message doesn't change, okay? You are changing the adverb, opposite adverb, but you're not changing the message there. Don't speak so loudly.
Can you speak quietly?
Can you speak
Can you speak a bit quietly?
calmly?
Speak a bit
Can you
quietly.
speak quietly?
Can you speak a bit quietly? No. Slowly is different. Quietly is different.
Quietly.
Yes, slowly is taking more time. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was infamous for speaking slowly. Yes.
Sir, calmly, can we use it? Calmly. Can you speak calmly?
Calm.
Well, calmly is not the opposite of loudly, okay? Loudly doesn't necessarily mean the person is overexcited or the person is panicking or anything. I am speaking loudly right now. Do you think I am angry or anything? No, I'm just speaking loudly, okay? So you could say, sir, you don't need to speak so loudly, sir. You can speak a bit quietly, no problems. We can still hear you. You can speak a bit quietly. We can still hear you, no problems. So loudly can be the opposite of quietly.
Quietly.
Okay. Other adverbs that you guys are using, slowly, calmly, they refer to a different idea. The meaning is different, okay? Slowly means taking more time. Calmly means controlling your emotions, okay? So if somebody is speaking a little hurriedly, then you can ask them to speak calmly, okay? All right, number 4. Chris drives
drives.
dangerously.
Dangerous.
Chris drives
He doesn't.
dangerously. He doesn't drive
He doesn't drive
carefully.
safely.
He doesn't
Carefully.
drive safely. He doesn't drive carefully. Safely and carefully either. No problems. I don't sleep heavily.
I don't.
Deep.
Lightly. I sleep lightly. If somebody says I don't sleep heavily, it means if you just go and
I
quietly
sleep.
say hello, they will wake up because they don't sleep heavily. Some people sleep heavily. Once they're asleep, they're not waking up. You'll have to, fire a gunshot, to wake them up. So that is sleeping heavily. When I was young, I slept heavily, but now I don't. I sleep very lightly. I wake up very easily now, okay? With the very small noises, can wake me up. Okay. So guys, Vikas, what are you doing? I told you, oh, Vikas has got internet issues. Vikas has got internet issues. So now it is time to go to the main book, guys,
Sir,
or the video. The video,
sir,
Titanic. Yes.
please read the chat box.
Which, okay. Along the street. Along the street. Whenever there is something that has length, whenever there is something that has length, and you're going, that way, in the direction of the length, then you're going along. And if you're going perpendicular to the length, then you're going across. Now, a river has length, okay? It flows from one direction to another. That is the length of the river. And the river has width as well. In some places big, in some place small width, okay? So when you're going from one side of the river to the other side of the river, you are swimming across. You're swimming across. But when you are going, from the direction, in the direction or opposite the direction of the flow, you are going along the river, okay? So understand, along the road. There are trees along the road, or there are trees across the road?
Along the
If you're
road.
talking about the
Along the
trees
road.
which give you shade, shadow, those trees are along the road. And
Along the road.
sometimes some
On the
people,
road.
robbers, they put a tree across the road and stop the cars and the vehicles and rob them. Okay. So I hope you
Oh,
understand.
yes, sir. Along
Somebody
the road.
puts a tree or anything on the road and blocks the road. So it is across the road. It is across the
Cross
road.
road.
Yeah, Faizan is here.
Sir, across the bridge.
Hello, Faizan.
Hello, sir.
Finally, you found time to be here, huh?
Yes, sir. But I'm also late, sir. Still late.
Uh-huh. No problems. So, where are you, at home?
Yes, sir.
And why is the camera off then? You're in bed.
And yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your voice sounds sleepy, like maybe you've just woken up.
Yes, sir. I turn on my camera in
A few
5 or 10
minutes.
minutes, sir.
Okay, yeah. All right.
By the way, sir, happy Teachers' Day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now the video. We are going to watch the video, right? Let's watch the video. Where is the video? Sapaji is sick, she said. Yeah.
In April 1912, newspapers around the world were full of the tragic story.
Repeat.
Newspaper around the world had tragic stories.
Newspaper around the world had tried stories.
Yes, in April 1912.
In 1912.
In April 1912, newspapers around the world were full of the tragic story of
Newspapers
April,
around the world were full of
Were full of
tragic
tragic
stories.
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 Newspapers around the world were full of tragic stories
one of the most famous ships in history.
of one of the most famous ships. Tragic stories of one of the most famous ships.
History, the Titanic. In 12, newspapers around the world were full of the tragic story of one of the most famous ships in history, the Titanic.
One of the most famous ships in history.
Ships in history.
Nice phrase, in history. It was the fastest delivery in history. Okay. Means there was never a faster delivery than that. Okay. It was the biggest ship in history.
At the time,
In history, the phrase, okay? अगर ऑफ करके बोलेंगे in the history of one day cricket, तो वो अलग बात है, right? But अगर एक simple 2 word का phrase है तो क्या है? In history. अब देखो
In
इसका क्या
history.
है? Yesterday I was talking about grammar of vocabulary, words, okay? अब यही है. In history is a fixed expression. लेकिन in the history of Indian politics, तो सही है. In the history of Indian politics, okay.
the Titanic was the largest passenger ship in the world. She was nearly 270 meters long and over 53 meters high, with 9 decks. She was owned by the White Star Line.
She was owned by
White Star Line.
She was owned by, okay.
Is long and over 53 meters high, with 9 decks. She was owned by the White Star Line. The Titanic left the port of Southampton on the south coast of England on the 10th of April 1912. She stopped briefly at Cherbourg in France and Queenstown, now called Cove, in Ireland, and then started.
These are all past simple sentences. It started here, then it stayed here, it stopped for a while, okay?
April 1912. She stopped briefly at Cherbourg.
We need to go and press the two-way switch off, which is the first switch from the right, top right corner. Yeah.
In France and Queen Southampton on the south coast of England on the 10th of April 1912. She stopped briefly at Cherbourg.
She stopped briefly at Cherbourg. Now this lesson, oh my goodness, very interesting lesson. It is usually an advanced, level lesson, C1, C2 level lesson, but I'm gonna share with you guys. Where did the, ship start? It started from Southampton, okay? And then, listen
again. Titanic left the port of Southampton.
It left the port of Southampton
on the south coast of England on the 10th of April 1912.
On the 10th of, on this date,
April
it left.
1912. She stopped briefly at Cherbourg.
She stopped briefly at Cherbourg. She, the ship, not it, she.
The pilot, sir.
No, SHE, okay, I'm sorry, I did not explain this. I thought you guys would know. Beta, ship, we know that in English, there are 3 genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter gender, right? Neuter gender is for things which are non-living, like chairs, computer, and we use 2 pronouns, it and they. It is for singular and they is for plural. And here, instead of using it, we are using the pronoun she for the ship. Normally, we should use the pronoun it, and it will be all right if you use the pronoun it, because a ship is a neuter gender thing. But sometimes non-living things are referred to by these pronouns, he or she. Why? To just make it more exciting. This is called personification. This is called personification means person means insan, okay? Personify, किसी को इंसान बना देना. Ship cannot be a woman, but the pronoun she is used for a woman. So you are personifying the ship. You are kind of comparing it with a woman, right? And you're using the word she. When people talk about their country, sometimes they use the word she as well. Okay. So this is called personification in English. It is not necessary, but people do it to make more impact, emotional impact.
Like we treated our bike or car as she.
Yeah, we can. A girl can treat her bike as a he, and a boy can treat his bike as a she. Yes, totally can. And so the pronoun she here was used for the ship just as part of personification. It is an example of personification. Mm. If you hear somebody talking about their dog or their cat as he or she, then understand dogs and cats are not he or she, but the owner or the person who has that pet, has emotions attached with that pet, considers the pet a person. Now, if the person is male, he, if the person is female, she, so they will use these pronouns. Okay. So you have a dog and you say, my mother loves him a lot. That is what we listen to and in the elementary course. My mom loves him a lot. His name is Boris. It's a dog, but the pronoun is him, his, possessive adjective. His name is Boris. So, yes. But that was not the point I was making. The preposition at, the ship stopped briefly at Cherbourg. So in a journey, when you talk about stoppages, then you use the preposition at, not in. The ship did not stop in Cherbourg. The ship stopped at Cherbourg. That's the point. Now, some teachers, again, it is simply ignorance, nothing else. Ignorance, agyanta. Some teachers think at is used before small places. Okay. That's just ignorance, nothing else. At is used before buildings when you're talking about arrive. When you're talking about arriving somewhere. For example, you can say, I arrived in my village. I arrived at my school. Tell me, village is a place, but school is just a building. So I arrived at my school. I arrived at the cinema. I arrived at the bank, because these are buildings. Only with the verb arrive, okay? There is no rule in English anywhere that says at is used before small towns. People teach, and this rule is very commonly written in the books as well, Hindi medium grammar books, which I consider shit, nothing better than that. Hindi medium grammar books, they're useless, okay? They will teach you nothing. They'll just make you more confused. So when somebody says, I live at Bihar Sharif, it is incorrect English. Grammatically incorrect English. Bihar Sharif is the name of a town. You should use in before names of towns, villages, cities. So I live at Bihar Sharif is absolutely nonsensical. It is wrong grammatically. You use the wrong preposition. You should use the right preposition, which is in. I live in Bihar Sharif. At is used before address. You can say, I live at ward number 36, house number 441, Bihar Sharif. No problems, because this is your address. So the confusion about at and in is clear. There is no rule in any grammar books that tell you to use at before small places. No. Arrive at, arrive in is another thing. I told you, at is used before buildings. Arrive at the cinema. Yes.
I live at that building.
Yes, understand this. If you're talking about address, then it's fine, okay? Otherwise, if you mention a name of a building, okay? Then if you only mention the name of the building, then you don't say live at that building. No, okay? Name of the building, then you will again go with in. But if you're talking about address, then you go with at. Okay, you're giving your address. I live at Jyoti Villa, uh, XYZ Street. Fine, no problems, because it is your address. Jyoti Villa, XYZ Street. No problems. I live at, remember, address is given with at. That's why you say my email address is at gmail gmail.com, because it is your address. So address is always mentioned with at preposition. Okay. So I live at address. But cities, towns, no matter how small they are, villages, no matter how small they are, you use in, not at. Point. Second, it doesn't matter how small or how big a place is. If it is a stoppage in a journey, then to talk about the stoppage, you will use at. Suppose this ship stopped at Mumbai. Mumbai is not a small town, it's a small city, it's a big city, but you will still say it stopped at Mumbai. If there is a plane or if there is a ship that stops there, takes a stoppage there, then we will say it stopped at Mumbai, not in Mumbai. So stoppages take preposition at, not in, no matter size. Size is irrelevant. So the ship stopped briefly where?
At Cherbourg.
At Cherbourg. Okay, Sumit, this question can be of great importance to you because, again, people who are speaking English, fluency matters more and accuracy doesn't matter as much, unless you are going for a really big job or something. Whoa, oh. Guys, can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I don't know how come.
Sir, are you
This...
going to explain briefly?
I'm going to explain what briefly?
Briefly.
The ship stopped briefly.
Briefly means for some time.
Oh,
The plane stopped briefly means the plane stopped for a few minutes, for a few
A few minutes.
hours, short time. Okay. Yeah. Briefly means for a short
क्या
time.
कर लो
Short
पागल हो
time.
काम कर लो पैन कार्ड अप्लाई कर लो किसका पैन कार्ड करो बच्चों वाले पूरे डॉक्यूमेंट कैसे भरने हैं, कैसे पता सेम ऐसे जैसे उसमें भरा है वो ऐसा ही फॉर्म उधर ही आता है
Okay, fine. Guys, when you stop hearing me, let me know, okay?
In France, and Queenstown, now called Cove, in Ireland, and then started her journey across the Atlantic towards her final destination, New York. And Queenstown, now called Cove, in Ireland, on the 10th of April 1912. She stopped briefly at Cherbourg, in France, and Queenstown, now called Cove.
Okay. It stopped at two places.
In Cherbourg.
No.
I can't hear you, sir.
And then started her journey.
Okay, sir.
Anyone can hear. Where is sir?
We can't hear. I can't hear you, sir. Is it my fault?
So I can. No one can hear him.
Oh, I thought it's from my
That
side.
knows that there is taking something.
Sakib.
Saki.
Yeah, yeah.
Saki.
Hello, Sakib.
What?
Hi.
Hello, Aris. Where are you now?
Are you in India or abroad?
Who told you I'm in abroad?
No. Other days I told that you are in Canada.
Hello.
Sir was just kidding.
Oh, where is Masuk? In hostel.
Hello.
He is still in hostel.
Oh. So are you in Ramzanpur?
Yes, nowadays I'm in Ramadan.
Okay.
Where are you? Are you in Bangalore?
Yeah. I will go at Ramzanpur next month, most
Where are you
probably.
coming?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Manage with this,
Yes,
okay?
sir.
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
We can
Yeah,
hear you.
we can hear you, sir.
This is not the best quality, but manage.
Okay, sir.
Are you
What
using your
happened?
phone's microphone?
Am I using what?
Your mobile microphone.
I'm using my camera's microphone.
Hmm.
Across the Atlantic towards her final destination, New York. She was carrying 1,343 passengers.
He was carrying past continuous here. He was
He was carrying
Yeah.
1,348 43 passengers.
185 crew members.
885 crew members.
The trip to New York was her maiden voyage.
The trip to New York, the trip to New York, the trip to New York
The
was her maiden voyage. Maiden, first.
maiden first.
Means first. Maiden century, first century. Maiden, or, first 5 wicket fall. So maiden voyage. Voyage means journey. Sea journey is called voyage. Voyage. VOY. Maiden voyage.
Some passengers in first class were rich and famous.
Some passengers in the first class were rich and
famous.
But most second and third class passengers weren't rich.
But the most second class and third passengers weren't rich.
They were people from across Europe.
They were people
From across the
traveling to America to start new lives.
Traveling to America to start a new life.
The story of the Titanic is so famous that everyone knows how the
story is so famous that everybody knows, especially after that
voyage ended.
That voyage ended. Everybody knows how that voyage ended. Everybody knows how that voyage ended.
Just before midnight on Sunday, the 14th of April.
Just before midnight.
Sunday
She was sailing towards the coast of North America.
It was sailing, or she was sailing to the coast of.
The ship hit an iceberg.
The ship hit an iceberg. The ship hit an iceberg.
And was badly damaged.
Okay, in Hindi we say एक iceberg से टकरा गया, right? Why didn't we use to or from or against with कुछ ऐसा क्यों नहीं बोले हम लोग? Hit an iceberg, iceberg क्यों बोले? Why did we say it hit an iceberg? The ship hit an iceberg. Hit to, hit from, ऐसा कुछ क्यों नहीं बोले? एक बात बताता हूँ, यहाँ पर आइडिया लीजिए कि आपके हिंदी में आप बोल रहे से टकरा गया, बट इन इंग्लिश इट इज अ ट्रांजिटिव वर्ब, ऐसा वर्ब जिसके बाद डायरेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट आता है, कुछ नहीं कर सकते, आपको उसके बाद ऑब्जेक्ट बोलना पड़ेगा।
It sings.
ओके, ठीक है। तो हिट एक ट्रांजिटिव वर्ब है जिसका मतलब कोई जब टकराने की बात हो रही है, मैं एक पेड़ से टकरा गया, मेरा बाइक एक पेड़ से टकरा गया, माई बाइक हिट अ ट्री। लेकिन अगर हिट की जगह बम्प बोल दे, बम्प मतलब ही टकराना, तो बम्प ट्री नहीं बोल सकते,
Bump into.
बम्प इनटू अ ट्री बोलना पड़ेगा। अब यार क्या फर्क हुआ तो समझिए, बम्प इज नॉट अ ट्रांजिटिव, हिट इज अ ट्रांजिटिव। हिट के बाद डायरेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट है, बम्प के बाद नहीं है, तो उसके पहले कुछ बोलना पड़ता। द माई बाइक बम्प्ड इनटू अ ट्री, माई बाइक हिट अ ट्री। तो वर्ब दो तरह के हो गए आज से, एक डायरेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट, एक नो डायरेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट। ठीक है, नाम भले मत याद रखो, डजंट मैटर, ट्रांजिटिव और इंट्रांजिटिव, आइडिया याद रखो। हिट अ ट्री, हिट एन आइसबर्ग, डायरेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट, bumped into a tree, bumped into an iceberg. Sometimes one verb can be used both ways for different meanings, for different meanings. For example, I walk my dog every day. I walk my dog every day. अब ये वॉक किसके जैसा है, हिट के जैसा या बम के जैसा?
Hit के जैसा.
राइट, नाम बोलने से फायदा नहीं, ट्रांजिटिव इंट्रांजिटिव, बट कैटेगरी याद रखो, डायरेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट, राइट? आई वॉक माई डॉग every day. And then I walk alone. I walked into her at the supermarket. Now, in these two sentences, I walk alone. Do you have an object? I walk alone. Do we have?
No.
No. कहाँ कोई object है? Somebody, something, object हमेशा noun equivalent होता है. Alone is an adverb, okay? तो ये walk था बिना object के ना, यानी कि bump की तरह था. Okay. Now, go. I am going. कहाँ है object? No object. So go, bump, walk, ये वाला walk. जिसमें हमने कहा I walk alone. Okay, I walk to my class. I walk to my class. There is no object. बोलेंगे to my class, अरे उस object होता है verb के direct बाद, अगर object होता है तो, ठीक है? तो I walk to my class. To my class is an adverb. To my class क्या है? Adverb है. Walk के बाद direct object नहीं है, so walk is not like it. लेकिन जब मैं कह रहा हूँ walk my dog, तो है ही. तो similarly, this cow milks a lot. This cow milks. Do you know how to milk a cow? Do you know how to milk a cow? तो ये milk एक वर्ब है, और कैसा वर्ब है? हिट की तरह कि बम की तरह? Do you know how to milk a cow? Quickly. Do you know how to milk a cow? ये milk हिट की तरह है कि go और बम की तरह है?
Go की तरह, hit की तरह.
There is an object. Observe. Observe को ये सीखिए. So please think of this idea whenever you know a lot of sentences with a lot of verbs. सबके बारे में सोचिए, किसके बाद ऑब्जेक्ट आ रहा है, कौन हिट की तरह है. दो कैटेगरी बनेंगी, a verb, a category which takes a noun after it. Okay, noun means object, takes a noun, and another which doesn't take a noun. Okay, तो आपका डिसीजन नहीं चलेगा हिंदी वाला. It will be decided according to that verb. If that verb belongs to the category which takes an object, object चाहिए. इसीलिए अक्सर people learn when they do not know English very well, they say, sir, रुखसार अक्सर बोल देती, sir, I like, sir, I like, sir. हमको अच्छा लगता है, sir. क्योंकि वो सोच रही हैं हम बोल रहे हैं हमको अच्छा लगता है आई लाइक, और वो टोन भी आई लाइक सर आई लाइक, लेकिन नहीं, आई लाइक समथिंग, वो किसी चीज के बारे में बात कर रही है, ठीक है। तो वो नाम देना पड़ेगा, उसका प्रोनाउन दीजिए, आई लाइक इट, आई लाइक दैट, आई लाइक देम, ओके, आई लाइक दिस, कुछ चाहिए आपको ऑब्जेक्ट, गॉट इट। तो ये कॉन्सेप्ट पे काम करो। Verbs belong to two categories. One which will take nouns after them, and those which will not take nouns after them. Okay. Sometimes one verb can function both ways. All right. Just like I said, walk. Sleep. What do you think of sleep? आप खुद से decide कर सकते हैं. Tell me about sleep. It takes a noun after it. It doesn't take a noun after it. It is like hit or it is like bump. Exactly. It doesn't take an object. It doesn't sleep. You sleep. You sleep 5 hours. लेकिन 5 hours noun नहीं. Okay. Yeah. Sleep peacefully. इसके बाद कोई object नहीं आ रहा है. जरूरत ही नहीं. Okay. Okay. Fine. Let's continue. I want to tell you, जब आप गौर करना शुरू करोगे, then you will notice, I ready my child for school. I ready my child for school. Ready एक वर्ब है. कैसा वर्ब है ये भी देख लो. अब जब वर्ब देखना तो कैसा वर्ब है ये देखना. I ready my child for school. कैसा वर्ब दिखा? इट के जैसा दिखा? I ready my child. My child now. Okay. I ready my child for school. So ready somebody. तो जो भी इस तरह के वर्ब्स होते हैं उसके बाद somebody something आता है, और आप गौर कर रहे हैं. फॉर्मूला अगर मैं दूं, मान लो मैंने आपको एक फॉर्मूला दिया, ओके. ह्यूमिलिएट समबॉडी. ह्यूमिलिएट समबॉडी. ओके. आप कभी ह्यूमिलिएट अकेले नहीं यूज कर सकते. जब आपने सुना ही क्या मेरे मुंह से, ह्यूमिलिएट समबॉडी, तो आप कभी ह्यूमिलिएट अकेले नहीं बोल सकते. आप जब बोलेंगे तो क्या बोलेंगे? He humiliated me. He humiliated his father. He humiliated somebody. Somebody must be there because तुमने फॉर्मूला क्या पढ़ा? Humiliate somebody. तो जब ऐसे पढ़ाई करोगे जैसे मैं बता रहा हूँ उस हिसाब से, तो फॉर्मूला सीखते चलेंगे. वो वर्ब खाली humiliate नहीं सिखाएंगे. हम टेक्स्ट कहीं भी आएगा, you will find humiliate somebody. Okay. Put somebody through humiliation. Put somebody through humiliation. Humiliate somebody. उसी को फॉर्मल बना दिया मैंने. Humiliate somebody को कैसे बना दिया? ये बोल के put somebody through humiliation. In public, he put his father through humiliation by saying he had done nothing for him. Okay. So, all right, fine. Let's move on. The ship hit an iceberg.
2 hours, 40 minutes later, the ship sank.
2 hours, 40 minutes later, the ship sank. Later is used in past tense. Later is used in the ship hit an iceberg, and 2 hours, 40 minutes later, the ship sank. So if you have a period of time and you want to use the word later, something happened. Just like something happened certain period of time ago. तुम आए आधे घंटे पहले. You came here half an hour ago. आधे घंटे बाद वो चला गया. Half an hour later he left. Half an hour ago का उल्टा half an hour later.
Half an hour later.
2 days ago. 2 days
2
later.
days later.
टेंस की बात, सारे पास्ट टेंस की बात. ठीक है. I paid my first installment in January, and 3 months later I paid my second installment at university.
Installment.
That. So this is how you use later with periods. They had their first baby in 2009. They had their first baby in 2009. 2 years later, they had their second.
Their second baby.
प्रॉब्लम क्या है? हम लोग के मुंह पर आफ्टर आ जाता है. क्या आ जाता है? क्योंकि आफ्टर मतलब लोगों ने बात सुन रखा है बचपन से. ठीक है. तो जब टाइम एक्सप्रेशन टाइम पीरियड के साथ बोलना हो तो लेटर बोल दो बेटा से. जैसे 2 years later, they had their second baby. They had their first baby in 2009, and two years later, they had their second baby. After के साथ बोला जा सकता है, लेकिन उसको लंबा चौड़ा करना पड़ेगा. 2 years after the first baby, 2 years after the first baby, they had another baby. Lekin simply 2 years later, they had their second baby. Okay. So later word is very underused by you guys. You guys do not use the word later when you need to. आप वहाँ क्या सोचाते हो? क्योंकि after मतलब बचपन से क्या सिखाया है? बात सुनते के साथ कौन सा word आता है दिमाग में? That's the problem. But if you are talking about certain period के बाद, तो कौन सा word सोचना है? Later. मैंने उसको 2003 में कर्जा दिया था, उसने 6 साल बाद पैसा वापस किया. I lent him some money in 2003 and he paid my loan back. He paid my debt back 6 years later in 2009. 6 years later. Okay. No problems?
Tragically, there weren't enough lifeboats. And
tragically, now when you hear the word tragically, what are you prepared for? Some good news or bad news? Some bad news. Right. So these are called sentence adverbs. These sentence adverbs appear at the beginning of the sentence and they prepare you for what you are.
Avinash, bring some water.
What happened to the water? Okay. Next.
And only 710 people survived.
Tragically, there weren't enough lifeboats. Tragically, there weren't enough lifeboats. Tragically, weren't enough lifeboats. So tragically is a nice sentence adverb. You use it to introduce a comment which people don't want to hear, of course. Okay, tragic, something bad, something negative. They brought her to the hospital. They brought her to the hospital. Tragically, something good or something bad. Tragically, the overbleeding had already killed her. Tragically, she died of overbleeding. She died from overbleeding. She died from
Overbleeding.
She died from overbleeding. Yeah. Tragically is used this way, guys. This is one of the examples of sentence adverbs. Interestingly, tragically, fortunately, unfortunately, luckily, So these are, I said happily, like happily sentence adverb nahi hai, okay? So sentence adverbs prepare the mood for the listeners. They prepare the listeners for what might come next. क्या आने वाला है उसके लिए तैयार कर देते हैं. ठीक है? They took her to hospital. Luckily, the injuries were not very deep or bad, and she survived. तो लकड़ी बोलने से आप तैयार थे कि आपको कुछ अच्छा सुनने को मिलने वाला है. एक ही सेंटेंस, they took her to hospital, right? Sentence ends there, full stop. And अगली बार मैंने लिख दिया luckily, फिर मैंने लिख दिया दूसरे बार tragically, unfortunately. तो आप तैयार हो ना? क्या सुनने वाले हो आप, क्या आ सकता है आगे? तो इस तरह के वर्ड सीख जाने से राइटिंग becomes easy. आपको पता आप कैसे लिंक करोगे अगली बार. Sentence adverbs are useful. Listen them when you're reading or listening, okay? मेरा पढ़ाने का मकसद ये नहीं होता कि मैं कुछ सिखा दूं और काम हो जाए. वो नहीं हो सकता ऐसे. फिर वो होगा कि मैंने आपको सेकंड कंडीशनल पढ़ा दिया दोस्तों, हाँ पढ़ा दिया सर. आपने पास्ट परफेक्ट पढ़ाया सर, हाँ सर ये भी हो गया सर. सब चीज पढ़ लिया, हाँ ठीक है. आप बोल क्या पा रहे हैं, इतना कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं आता है बोलते समय. कोई प्रॉब्लम. तो स्पीकिंग स्किल्स डेवलप करने के लिए मुझे सिर्फ कॉन्सेप्ट्स नहीं सिखाना होता है. I have to make you subconsciously comfortable with the words and phrases. और इसी के लिए मैंने आप लोगों को कहा है, प्लीज आई विल शेयर अ वीडियो में भी स्टीफन क्रैशन की सेकंड लैंग्वेज एक्विजिशन थ्योरी पढ़िए. आई एम वेरी I will say influenced by this theory, and the way I teach kind of goes along his findings. Yeah, what we suggest, what we recommend the teacher should do in the class. I do all those things naturally because I realized during all my years of teaching that this is what works, and this is why if I start teaching concepts chapter wise, आज का ये chapter, आज का ये chapter, आज का ये chapter, it will be more engaging in a way. ठीक है कि भैया आज का chapter ये है ध्यान दो, लेकिन उससे skill development याद है.
In 1985, the wreck of the Titanic was finally found.
Was finally found. The wreck was finally found. The wreck of the Titanic was finally found. 1985. So there are quite a few things I want to highlight. The wreck was finally found in 1985, and the ship sank in 1912. So you know very well that when a ship sinks, people make efforts to find the wreck. The wreck means the broken parts, okay? The wreck. But it was finally found in 1985. So there was a long time, long wait. Finally, when you want to say something happened after a long wait, finally Sachin scored his 50th century, because there was a big gap between his 49th and 50th century. He played lots of matches, but he could not score a century. Finally, he scored his 50th century. Okay, the monkey was off the back. एक्सप्रेशन इंग्लिश में जब कोई चीज बहुत मुश्किल जैसे होता है ना, कोई चीज जिसमें जैसे 50वां सेंचुरी बनाना है, 49 बना के बेचारा अटका 50 हो जाए. मंकी वॉज ऑफ द बैक. द मंकी वॉज ऑफ द बैक, मतलब हो गया जो चीज होना था. कुछ ऐसी माइलस्टोन्स होते हैं, उसके बाद आदमी रिलैक्स हो जाता है. सो रिलैक्स हो जाता है, मतलब मंकी इज ऑफ द बैक नाउ. द मंकी इज बंदर उतर गया अपनी ऊपर से, तो आप रिलैक्स होते हैं. The monkey is off the back. Do you guys remember?
India finally won the World Cup in 2024.
मैंने कुछ जो बोला वो अलग. हाँ, फाइनली के लिए सही है, लेकिन monkeys off the back के लिए सही नहीं है. Exactly, your example was perfect with finally, because we came close in 2003, right? And we couldn't.
2007, sir. 2007.
Sorry, 2011 we won. And after that, we couldn't really win. We had a good team. But finally, in 2024, this year, right? We won the T20 World Cup. Okay, finally. So finally means something happened after a long wait. Okay.
The bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, 2.5 miles down. 100 years after the Titanic sank, people are still fascinated by its story.
People are still fascinated by its story. 100 years after it sank. 100 years after it sank. 100 साल, इसके डूबने के 100 साल बाद, 100 years after it sank, people are still fascinated by its story. People are still fascinated by its story. अभी भी लोगों को इसके स्टोरी में दिलचस्पी है. People are still fascinated. Fascinated is an adjective, और अगर आप चाहें तो इसको passive voice के भी तौर पे भी देख सकते हैं. People are still fascinated by its story.
But while there are hundreds of books, television programs, and famous films about the ship's short voyage, many people.
Why are there so many movies, books, and stories about this short voyage? Why?
People still know very little about where the ship came from.
People still know very little about where the ship came from. They know about what happened with the ship, but they know very little about where the ship came from.
And the people who built it. The birthplace of the Titanic is Belfast. Belfast is the capital city of Northern Ireland in the United Kingdom, and the city was famous for shipbuilding in the 20th century.
It was famous. Belfast was famous for shipbuilding in the 20th century.
Shipbuilding.
Yeah.
The Harland and Wolff shipyard, where they built Titanic, still exists today.
And they mentioned the name of the shipyard. It still exists today.
You can see the dock where they finished the ship.
This is the dock where they finished the ship. Shipyard. Shipyard. They made ships here. Okay. The dock.
They don't make ships here anymore,
They don't make ships here anymore.
but you can still see the yard's two massive cranes.
HNW, the name of the company that built it. But you can still see two massive.
Finish the ship. They don't make ships here anymore, but you can still see the yard's two massive cranes.
Yards, two massive cranes. Massive means massive six.
Samson and Goliath from all across the city. Today,
These two cranes from across the city. Wherever you are, from there you can see the cranes.
Today, the old shipbuilding area of Belfast is called the Titanic Quarter. There's a lot of new development in this area. And there's a huge new Titanic signature building at the old shipyard where you can learn more about the ship. From the outside, this amazing new building looks like the bow of the Titanic. And behind the new building, you can still see the old offices of Harland and Wolff, where they designed the ships for the White Star Line.
Harland and Wolff, okay, where they start that ship.
This building is empty today, but in 1900 there were hundreds of people working here, and around 50.
In the 1920s, hundreds of people were working here. Today, they're empty, but 100 years ago, hundreds of people were working here.
Hundreds of people were working here.
People work here, okay, सही है, काम करते थे. Hundreds of people were working here shows duration. बस और कोई मतलब नहीं बताने का. दोनों टेंसेस सही होंगे.
15,000 people working in.
इसकी बात आती है, बहुत सिंपल है. चॉइस में अगर गलती कर रहे हो आप, तब तो बहुत बेसिक गलती कर रहे हो, क्योंकि इट्स वेरी इजी. हमारे हिंदी में दोनों है, पास्ट कंटिन्यूअस, पास्ट सिंपल. जब दोनों पॉसिबल है तो दोनों में क्या करके ये महसूस करिए, दोनों के पर्पस से. Past simple, finished action. Past continuous, something was happening. So in 1920s, hundreds of people were working here.
In the shipyards. The Titanic was the second of 3 ships that Harland and Wolff were building for the White Star Line in the early 20th century.
So H&W was the shipbuilding company, and the company that ordered to make the ship was the White Star Line. There are 2 companies here. The White Star Line owned that ship. They ordered this company H&W to build that ship.
The plans for the Titanic and its sister ship, the Olympic, were almost identical. Both
There were 2 ships made, one the Titanic and the sister ship. Sister ship means similar, okay? Olympic it was called, okay? And the plans were very similar.
Inside and out. The Titanic was slightly.
Inside and out means inside and outside, both the plans were similar, means they look very similar.
Bigger.
They look.
The designers marked the Titanic's differences in red on the ship's plans.
The differences in red, they mark the differences, marker, okay, they mark the differences in red. वही mark को figuratively use करते हैं और कहते हैं this year marked the 78th anniversary of India's independence. All right, the 77th anniversary of India's independence. This year marked, okay, figuratively, कोई मार्क नहीं लगाया, लेकिन एक तरह से हो गया ना कि हाँ पहुंच गए 77वें एनिवर्सरी में. तो here you see literally marking. They mark the differences in red. The teacher marks the copy in red. Okay.
You can see these original plans at the Ulster Museum of Folk and Transport's Titanica exhibition.
These are the original plans. Before they built the ship, they made the plans, and these plans, original plans, are kept at a museum
in Belfast.
Blueprint वर्ड को यहाँ पर अलग तरह से यूज करें. ये क्या है? Design. Okay. Blueprint is something like a plan. कि कैसे होगा. Okay. Blue. If you have a blueprint, तो आप उसको कैसे आगे अचीव करोगे, उसके जो खाक है ना, उसको कहते हैं blueprint. Okay.
You can also see a lot of the objects from the Olympic.
You can see a lot of objects from the Olympic. Olympic was the sister ship. A sister ship means exactly like that, but smaller in size.
The Titanic had identical items on board.
The Titanic had identical items on board. Yahi sab items us pe bhi tha. On board, the Titanic had identical items on board.
When she sank.
Sank. जब वो डूबी.
At the exhibition, you can also learn much more about the people who built the ship.
At the exhibition, you learn much about the people.
And the people who were traveling on her when she.
And the people who were traveling on her. The people who were traveling on her.
And this is just one of many Titanic exhibitions around.
This is just one of many Titanic exhibitions around
the world.
One of many exhibitions around the world. Titanic exhibitions. Exhibition is clear. Exhibition shows you something. Exhibit matlab to show. Exhibit matlab to show. Exhibition, showing. You're showing something. It's an exhibition.
The tragedy of the Titanic was very difficult for the people of Belfast.
Of course, the tragedy was very difficult for the people of Belfast because the ship was built here, so it got a negative, image.
For many years, no one in Belfast talked about how they built the Titanic.
For many years, they didn't talk about how they built the Titanic because the ship sank, so many people died. Kind of black spot, right, on the image of the people who built that, of the industry, shipbuilding industry they had there.
But this changed over time.
This changed over time. Over time. धीरे-धीरे समय के साथ. When you want to say धीरे-धीरे समय के साथ, then you say over time. Over time phrase को समझ लेना. धीरे-धीरे समय के साथ. Over time. He changed over time. This changed over time. People started talking.
Today, people in the city are proud of their family histories.
Today, people are proud of their family history. Those who come from the families of the builders, the people, the craftsmen, the workers who built that, their families are proud.
There's a memorial to the men of Belfast who died on the ship.
There is a memorial for the men of Belfast who died.
Outside the city hall.
हर phrases पे ध्यान देना. टुकड़े जो बनते हैं, वो टुकड़ों पे ध्यान दो. टुकड़े तुम्हारे दिमाग में बैठ जाएं. अगर कोई टुकड़ा मिस हो, वापस जाओ.
There's a memorial to the men of Belfast who died on the ship.
Memorial to the men of Belfast. Memorial to the men of Belfast. मैंने for बोला था, ठीक है? वापस जाकर मैंने इसको दोहरा दिया. A memorial to. ये जो ये प्रीपोजिशन वाले फ्रेजेस होते हैं उनको ऐसे ही पूरे के पूरे फ्रेज के तौर पे देखिए और उस प्रीपोजिशन को वहां से मत हटाइए. वही इंग्लिश के सही प्रीपोजिशंस हैं. आपको आपका जो मन कहता है हिंदी में वो नहीं, उसका कोई मतलब नहीं, वैल्यू नहीं.
Outside the city hall. There's a memorial to the men of Belfast who died on the ship outside the city hall.
Outside the city hall. आपको ये phrase ध्यान रखना चाहिए. Outside the city hall. Today there is a memorial to the men of Belfast who died on the ship. Outside the
Memorial.
City Hall.
And tour guide Susie Miller.
चलो कल देखना because some of you are losing focus. Okay, so we will continue tomorrow. Please watch. Okay, and Faizan,
Bye, sir.
Faizan, how's work going? Yeah, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. It's going fine.
And the colleagues, are they nice? All of them?
Some colleagues are very nice, and but some colleagues still I am not confirmed. What like they are.
Do you feel excited every morning to go to work?
Yes,
That's
I'm very excited.
That's what matters. And how's the boss?
Yeah, boss is very nice, sir.
That's what matters as well.
Yes,
Yeah, good. So whenever you find time, for example, just be here. I know it's not easy for you, but when you have time, just
Yes.
visit. Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. We are wrapping up now.
What's your shift? Like, I mean,
But sir, I want to I requested to you, sir. Please
Hours.
share the recording, sir. Class recording.
I'm trying. I think the last recordings were available. No,
Yes.
what's
Because
up?
sir,
what hours?
I don't know, sir, why it's not put in the group recording for 3 days or 2 days.
Sometimes, but nowadays I'm putting it the same day. Evening. I think on the 4th. On the 4th, I'll put the recording in the evening itself. So today I'm gonna
Yes,
share
sir,
the recording
because
again.
yes,
Just
sir,
after.
because sir, when I was traveling, I see all your recordings on train, on bus. That's all.
Sure, I'm gonna share, okay?
What
Fine.
hours do you work?
Yes, sir.
And Lucky's asking what hours do you work?
9.
9 to 5.
I go to yes, sir. I reach there at 10, and I come back home at 7 o'clock.
7:30.
In and out, sir. But actually, I didn't start my journey at 10 o'clock. I start my journey 7 o'clock morning.
I know.
And when I return back my home, it's nearly about 10 or 10 and half p.m.
I understand. Okay, fine. Good luck and keep enjoying your job. And I will share the recordings, okay?
Bye,
Yes,
sir. Good
Thank you,
night.
sir.
Bye. Take care. Night.
Bye, sir. Good night.